Hello. Hello, V.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Okay, I'm okay.
Where are you now? At home? Are you at home?
Yes, I at home.
Where do you live? Where do you stay, V?
I live in Mỹ Tho City.
Where is that?
uh,
In
I
north?
I
It-
Việt Nam.
Yeah, north of Vietnam, central Vietnam, or near Ho Chi Minh.
Uh, I'm from Hồ Chí Minh City. From Hồ Chí Minh City to Hồ Chí Minh City. Go to for 2 hours.
2 hours. Oh, okay. So it's far from Ho Chi Minh City. Mhm,
Yes.
mhm. You are also enrolled in Canadian politics and international politics, right? And I will be your teacher.
Hello?
Hi, Wiz.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay.
How are you?
I'm great. I'm doing great.
You're doing great. Okay. Can I ask you where you stay in Vietnam?
Because of the COVID,
Mm-hmm. Where do you stay?
uh,
No, where are you living?
where I'm living in Ho Chi Minh City,
Okay, what district?
near District 7.
District 7. Okay. But right now, where are you? You're
I'm
there.
at home.
You're at home. Do you do online classes or do you do face-to-face classes in Ho Chi Minh now?
I'm doing online classes.
You're doing online classes. What about you, V? How do you go to school? Do you do online classes or you go to
I
school?
just study online.
Just online?
Yeah.
Still online because of COVID?
Yes.
Okay, so how is the situation over there with in Ho Chi Minh?
I'm pretty good. Pretty everything going as usual.
Pretty usual. Okay, no new cases.
Mm-hmm.
But you are playing it safe by holding online classes. You are
Yeah.
both graduating this year, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And next year you will be in the university, correct?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so good luck to your studies. And B, how is the situation there about the COVID?
I study online to prepare go to university.
Mm, okay. I would like to ask both of you because I am required to give a deadline for your submitted work. The first one is about review. I cannot see it on the site about what you need to write on. Do you have any idea, Wes?
No.
It
Let
says,
me check.
yeah, can you check? It says review. Your first written assignment is review.
Uh, uh,
Are you checking it now?
yeah, I'm checking. Yeah, it's review. Yep, it is review.
Yeah, it is, right? It says review. What are you going to review about or write about in review? I will make you listen to Introduction to Nonfiction. I want you to listen carefully and so that you would know what you would write about. Because the first one that you have to write about is nonfiction. All right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you see this, both of you?
Yes. I see the rubric.
Introduction to nonfiction. Make image full screen. To simply define nonfiction writing, you can just look at the name itself, subtract nonfiction, not fiction. In other words, not made up, not invented, but rather, fact. But this is a very simple definition for the many types of writing that fall under the category of nonfiction: journalism, memoir, biography, how-to. Opening parentheses, instructional, closing parentheses, review, blog, travel writing, political writing, letters, recipes, essays, philosophy, etc. In this module, you will get the opportunity to explore journalism, letter writing, biography or profile, and critical review writing. Although nonfiction is the presentation of facts, those facts are subject to the opinions of the author. In other words, the author may believe that her writing is the truth, but someone else may disagree. Often, nonfiction is subject to the opinion of the author. Whenever you read anything that claims to be nonfiction, you must be aware of the author's bias. Bias is defined as one-sidedness, prejudice, partiality, and/or favoritism. For example, Fox News in the United States presents its stories with a conservative bias, while the CBC here in Canada has a liberal bias. A good journalist will try to remain neutral when he or she is writing the news, but when one writes a memoir, blog, or letter to an editor, bias is expected. Check out this video for a refresher on the term bias.
Before I show you
Video
the video,
player. Play video. Play.
Plastic
Mute.
bottles. Let's ban them.
Volume level.
What's wrong with water from the tap?
Progress bar.
We didn't have bottled water before huge
Seek
companies
to
began
live.
to flog
Currently
it.
behind live.
The joke's on us and the
Play
environment.
rate.
The bottle costs maybe
Chapters.
1,000 times more than the content.
Descriptions.
The bottle always heads for the landfill,
Captions.
just where it shouldn't go.
While the
Audio track.
All informed
bot
people
is
agree
reading.
that it's
Full
time
screen.
to ban the bottle.
Interactive
Though
video
you may
transcript.
agree with the argument presented, you may also have recognized bias. Bias is prejudice for or against a person, a group of people, or their ideas. Bias is an angle of view that unfairly misrepresents individuals or their ideas because the focus is on only one side of the topic or aspect of the person, rather than presenting a balanced view. Some texts, such as advertisements and political speeches, are intentionally biased. In those contexts, because the purpose of selling us a product, service, or idea is usually obvious, bias can be more easily identified. In newscasts, journal articles, and website information, we expect ideas to be neutral. However, bias is often still present. Pay attention to these markers when examining texts for bias. Is the language in a text meant to appeal to your emotions? We didn't have bottled water before huge companies began to flog it. The verb flog means to sell aggressively. The adjective huge emphasizes the power of corporations as opposed to the individual. Both conjure negative connotations, which elicit negative emotional responses. When examining bias, notice not only what has been included, but more importantly, what is missing. This perspective is from someone whose community has access to clean water. But what about the millions of people around the world, and even in our own country, who must drink bottled water? Asking the question, what's wrong with the water from the tap, generalizes that all tap water is safe for drinking. Stating that all informed people agree, stereotypes and divides the listeners or readers into two groups: those who agree with the speaker and those who disagree, leaving no middle ground in the debate. With our varied preferences and experiences, we all bring our own biases to situations. By realizing this and thinking critically about what is presented and the biases within texts, you will obtain an accurate, more balanced understanding of important issues.
Okay. So based on this video, what is bias? Can you give me
Bias.
the meaning in your own words, Wes?
Bias is something like the information that give only in one side.
Okay. Would you say that this is also an opinion?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it can be. What about you, V? how would you define or describe bias?
For example, uh, for example,
Yeah, you can give me an example.
the newspaper of the USA write well for the government
Mhm,
about politics.
mhm. Okay, a newspaper will be pro-government, and that is a political bias. That's correct. Okay, so how can you do that for nonfiction when nonfiction is talking about the truth? With,
Uh,
You have to check the information.
I'm sorry, by?
By checking the information,
What are the different kinds of biases? For example,
uh, different time,
different types. For example, what is a generalization based on this video on bottled water?
they said bottled water is safer to drink the than the something one. I forgot.
Bottled water, yes, that is correct. That is a bias. They say that tap water is safer to
Yeah, tap
drink than
water.
bottled water. Yes, that's right. Another bias, V, based on what you saw in the video about bottled water. Another bias, V.
wow.
What is another bias? Because we said bias is like an opinion. It is one-sided. You are siding with either the pros or the cons, right? Either
Yes.
the advantages or disadvantages. And according to the video, there is no middle ground. You do not say this and that together. You side with one or the other. Like this is half in the middle, which means you take this side or you take the other side. Okay, so Wiz already mentioned about saying that in a hasty generalization that tap water is safer to drink than bottled water. That is a bias. What's another bias that is presented in the video?
Mm, hmm. Like tap water is not clean.
I'm sorry,
Tap water is not clean.
tap water is
That's
not clean. Yeah,
yeah,
that is the other bias on the other side, right? So
yeah. But actually, it's
tap
clean.
water, yeah, that's why you have to bottle it. What about the use of words like flog? That means to sell aggressively. Why is that a bias? The use of words can be a bias. When you say flog, that means to sell aggressively. Why does that word become a bias?
To sell something aggressively
Yeah, why is that a bias?
because
What is it trying to say?
um to be to make another purpose like the
Okay,
purpose like to sell the things not to for the consumer.
I think this is trying to say, yeah, that they want to make money
Mm-hmm.
out of water that can be for free when you drink it from the tap, right? So what it's trying to say, the bias here is that they want to make money out of water that can be uh, drank for free. That's why they say flog. Companies flog, sell aggressively. Any other bias? V?
Bias.
Bias based on the
Uh,
bottled water on the video.
maybe it's a mannerism. by someone.
I'm sorry, it is
Mannered.
many
Chatbot.
rounds. I do not understand the word. It is
Chat, it's is mannered by someone.
uh where did
Chatbot.
you get that?
I write chatbot.
Okay. Can you write in the chat box so that I can understand you better?
I don't understand.
Okay. Chat box.
No. Zoom.
Mm, okay, chat. Managed. Managed by someone. In terms of, what do you mean? The company?
Yeah, maybe the government. Government.
It is managed by someone. Like we said, try to make money out of something that can be taken for free. Right?
Yes.
Is that
Yeah.
what you mean? Is that what you mean?
Not real. Not real.
Can you type that?
What? Where?
Can you type it?
Yes.
Hmm.
Can you repeat?
Managed. That's all that I read. Managed.
Okay.
Is that the one?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's continue. Truthiness. What is truthiness?
Truthiness, truth, like the truth, the fact.
Uh-huh. Wait, let's listen.
Introduction to nonfiction.
Wait.
Make image look at the name it up. Not many vibrance about fiction is subject to the opinion of the author. Whenever you read bias, well, the CBC here in Canada has a liberal bias. A good journalist will log this video for a refresher on the DL. Play. Chapters. Descriptions. Captions. Audio track. Full screen. Interact caption settings dialog. Dialog. From the jokes on us and the environment. The bottle costs maybe 1,000 times more than the contents. The bottle always heads for the landfill, just where it shouldn't go. All informed people agree that it's time to ban the bottle. Though you may agree with the argument presented, you may also have recognized bias. Bias is prejudice for or against a person, a group of people, or their ideas. Bias is an angle of view that unfairly misrepresents individuals or their ideas because the focus is on only one side of the topic or aspect of the person rather than presenting a balanced view. Some texts, such as advertisements and political speeches, are intentionally biased. In those contexts, because the purpose of selling us a product, service, or idea is usually obvious, bias can be more easily identified. In newscasts, journal articles, and website information, we expect ideas to be neutral. However, bias is often still present. Pay attention to these markers when examining texts for bias. Is the language in a text meant to appeal to your emotions? We didn't have bottled water before huge companies began to flog it. The verb flog means to sell aggressively. The adjective huge emphasizes the power of corporations as opposed to the individual. Both conjure negative connotations, which elicit negative emotional responses. When examining bias, notice not only what has been included, but more importantly what is missing. This perspective is from someone whose community has access to clean water. But what about the millions of people around the world, and even in our own country who must drink bottled water? Asking the question, what's wrong with the water from the tap, generalizes that all tap water is safe for drinking. Stating that all informed people agree stereotypes, and divides the listeners or readers into two groups, those who agree with the speaker, and those who disagree, leaving no middle ground in the debate. With our varied preferences and experiences, we all bring our own biases to situations. By realizing this and thinking critically about what is presented, and the biases within texts, you will obtain an accurate, more balanced understanding of important issues. Truthiness. Bending the truth is not uncommon in nonfiction, but depending on what one is writing, truthiness. Opening parentheses, a word Stephen Colbert coined on his satirical news show, The Colbert Report, closing parentheses, can cause a lot of controversy. Firstly, truthiness, which the American Dialect Association named its word of the year for 2005, is truth that comes from the gut, not books, and the quality of preferring concepts or facts one wishes to be true, rather than concepts of facts known to be true. Opening parentheses, Webster's, closing parentheses. An example of truthiness in action is the popular online encyclopedia, Wikipedia, which anyone can edit, and which everyone, therefore, should never 100% trust or, more importantly, use as a source for a school essay. Make image full screen. James Frey is a writer who gained international notoriety for the truthiness of his memoir, A Million Little Pieces. Oprah Winfrey selected his book for her book club in the fall of 2005. Yet by early 2006 it was revealed that many parts of the book, which had been published as a memoir, opening parentheses, that it's a true story about Frey's life, closing parentheses, had been made up. In fact, Frey admitted he originally tried to publish parts of the book as a novel. Opening parentheses, fiction, closing parentheses, with little luck. Knowing memoirs now sell better than fiction, A Million Little Pieces became a memoir. Frey went on Oprah's show to account for his lies and apologized to his readers, and the publishers of his book, Doubleday and Anchor Books, also issued apologies and published disclaimers with all future publications of the book. Assignment breakdown. The nonfiction unit is worth 25% of your final grade in EWC4U. The following assessments will contribute to your final grade in this unit. Assessment. Weight percent. Review. 10%. Read, react, respond. 20%. Letter of praise or protest. 20%. Interview and profile. 25%. Feature article. 25%. Special.standards.title. To see where we are going in this unit, and the learning objectives you will be working to attain, see below. Unit overall expectations.
Okay. What is truthiness? Before we can even write about something, we need to have a background of the terms. We already know what bias is. What about truthiness? What do you mean by truthiness? I think this is a word made up in writing. What do you mean by truthiness, Wes?
Like it's not uncommon in
When you say bending the truth is not uncommon, then that means bending the truth is common, because this is a double negative, right? Not uncommon. So it means bending the truth is common in nonfiction. How do you bend the truth?
when by giving bias.
Yes, correct. You bend the truth by presenting your own biases, okay?
Yeah.
But how you feel, because nonfiction is not about emotions, it's about facts. So truthiness is about presenting your biases, a truth that comes from the gut, not books. What do you mean by that?
True from not from.
The gut is the stomach, okay? The stomach of a person. That means you have guts. That means you have, what's that? The courage to present something. What do you mean by that, Wes?
It means you need to do something, and you need to talk the truth.
Uh-huh.
Need to say the truth. Need to say facts.
Yes, correct. What do you mean by truthiness, V? What is, can you describe that in your own words? Always already described what truthiness is. What do you understand by truthiness?
Yes, I understand. Uh, it's a choosing
From the word truth, what is truthiness?
it. Everyone write real information.
Okay, and then real information,
Yes.
and then
And and they need with uh, uh well called I read where cause to
what do they
given
do with the,
information.
I'm sorry, then they will,
Read well.
what do
I
you
read
do with
that
the real information? Okay,
yeah.
write it in the chat box. Can you write it in the chat box? Did you write it? Okay, hold on.
To given
Source,
information.
the source of information. Okay, source of information, that's right. They have some basic information, but what do they do to make it like truthiness? What do they do about the source of information?
Mm.
Is it the real truth and nothing but the truth?
I think I read many newspaper or
Mm-hmm.
newspaper to I know about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, therefore I given information tourist tourist.
When you read something in the newspaper, you learn a lot of information, but truthiness comes in when you present what you believe in, your own biases, like what Wiz said. Okay, that is truthiness. To you, that is truth. To you, that is the real thing. But you're speaking out of your beliefs, so that becomes truthiness. It's not the real truth. It is your truth that you write about. All right. The example given here is about James Frey, who admitted later that some of his memoirs, A Million Little Pieces, are just uh, fragments of his imagination. He made it up. That's why it's truthiness. It's not the real truth. All right. Now let's go to assignment breakdown. Wes, what is your
Yes.
understanding of how you'll write review? This is 10%. I want to get the deadline from you. I do not want to present my own deadline, but I want to get the deadline from you.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
like a week,
What
more than a week.
review will you write on? This is 10%. Okay, so today is the 4th of March. When will you submit your writing about review?
What is like a week?
Sorry,
A week?
in a week. Okay,
Yeah.
in a week's time. So we're talking about Thursday next week, March 11, right? What about you? That's a good enough projection. What about you, V? In a week's time, you can write about review 1 week,
Oh, maybe I can same time.
same time. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good projection. 1 week. Okay, so 1 week then. I still have to see or ask, what are you going to write about review? Wiz, any idea? Review of what?
Of the bias.
Review of the bias. All right. What about you,
Maybe,
V? What are you going to write about?
Mhm.
Yeah, you, V. Yes.
Tunis.
Truthiness. Okay. So Wiz will write about bias and you will write about truthiness. Okay. That's good. That's good. Let's go to the next. I don't want you to hear. You're going to write, read, write, and reflect. I want to give you the breakdown of assignments. All right. Okay, listen to this.
Truthiness. Nonfiction is a presentation of the facts, right? So what happens when an author decides to distort those facts? Is it so wrong? Fiction is made up, nonfiction is not. Can you call a memoir if parts of it are made up? Don't many memoirists make up a few things to make their stories more interesting? If you read a memoir, opening parentheses, and maybe many of you have, closing parentheses, do you pick it up expecting all of it to be true? What if you found out that part of it wasn't? How would you feel? Consider this. Go to these websites to read more about James Frey, his memoir, The Controversy and Other Literary Fabrications and Hoaxes. A Million Little Lies Whose Life Is It Anyway? Some of our favorite literary hoaxes. Now, reread my questions above and reflect on the Freud controversy. Reflect and write. You may want to do more than just read these articles. Reflection is large part of reading and writing. Consider writing down your responses to the questions posed above. If you do this practice activity, be sure to provide details for your response. Don't just state your opinion, but provide examples, anecdotes, scenarios to support your thoughts.
Okay, there are questions here. I think this is for the next assignment. Okay, if you read a memoir, do you pick it up expecting all of it to be true? What if you found out that parts of it wasn't what you would feel? So I'm going back to the next, to the previous breakdown of assignments, which is, what is the breakdown here? Hold on. The breakdown is, I think you have to read, react, and respond to one of Frey's books, right? Mm-hmm. And I will propose a deadline for this. How would you propose it to be? Also in a week's time, or maybe longer?
After you review 3 or more days, 3 or 4 days.
3 or 4 days?
And yeah, after knowing the review.
After reading it? So
After finishing the review,
after finishing the review, 3 or 4 days, or I'll give you a week. All right.
uh-huh.
So let's do homework due every Thursday. All right.
Thursday.
Thursday. So review will be due on March 11. Read, react, respond will be due on March 18, and so on and so forth. Are we clear on that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you have to submit. Where do you need to submit your homework?
When what?
Drive.
You put it in the
Drive.
drive. Yes, in the drive. Drop it in the drive. Okay. Now, what do you understand by theme writing? What is theme writing, Wes?
Uh, Team writing is writing about something, writing about topic.
Writing about the topic. That's right. Okay. Listen to theme writing.
Theme writing. Consider this. Image from news article titled, Canada's rejection of inquiry into violence against Indigenous women is a national disgrace. Make image full screen. Indigenous people have been prominently in the news for several years, and the public is now well aware of the problems faced by Indigenous peoples. Here are some ways you can incorporate such themes into your writing in the various units. 1. Feature article. Write an article on land claims, living conditions on reserves, changes in northern culture as a result of resource department, etc. 2. Children's literature. Examine native myths that deal with creation, coyote, the raven, or other topics, and create your own myth for children. Include drawings that reflect the colors and shapes in native cultures. 3. Film review. Write a film review of At an Arduit. The Fast Runner. Opening parentheses, 2001, closing parentheses. This film should be available online or in video.
All right. So here you will be asked to write a theme on a feature article, children's literature, and a film review. Have you written something in the past already and
Yeah,
submitted?
the MRA style already.
What what prerequisites have you fulfilled before you went to writer's craft?
Chicago MLA Harvard.
I'm sorry, what's that? Your
Oh, you're asking the style, the signing style, right?
the prerequisites, yeah, wherein you have written certain things.
The writing citing style, right?
Can you type that? I don't quite understand.
Um, then you ask about that one.
Writing citing style. What is this? Writing citing style.
MLA, the MLA style.
The MLA style. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
What are you asking?
I'm asking about certain writings that you have fulfilled in the assignment before
No.
in your other subjects. Because
Not yet.
before you can take this course, the writer's craft, you had some prerequisite subjects, right?
Mm-hmm.
What did you take up and what did you write about?
Business,
Business,
family, society.
Family, society. Yeah. All
Yeah,
right.
that's all.
Okay. Well, that's good exposure. What about you, V? What topics have you written about? Right. Right. All right.
MLA.
MLA. Yeah. You
Yeah.
use that format, MLA. Okay.
Yes.
But what did you write about? Like we said, family, society, and what was the other one?
Yeah. Uh, on on essay, I write about MLA.
About what?
MLA. Write on essay.
Yeah, about what? An essay about
Uh,
what is the topic?
on on
Can you type it?
yeah. Many essay.
Many essays about
Yeah. Uh,
example. Where's example is family, society.
mm.
Any other?
And for you. Okay. Uh, Politics.
Politics. All right.
Yeah. Mm. Social. Maybe. Gì chứ?
Social.
What? Politics. Entertainment. Entertain.
Politics and entertainment. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good enough. Wes, what do you understand by journalism? Wes, are you there? Me. What do you understand by journalism? What is journalism? Wes, are you there?
Yeah, my Wi-Fi just dropped.
Yeah, I know. There's something wrong with your audio. What do you understand by journalism?
Mm.
Journalism is about writing.
When you're a journalist, what do you write about? The
So
first comes here,
what you try, what you see after a journal.
like a journal. But do you stick to facts?
No,
No.
yeah, it's about opinion. What you see.
Yeah. It's also about opinion, how you feel about it, what you see. When we
Mm-hmm.
talk about journalism, the first thing that comes to our minds is writing for a newspaper, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
But journalism now is exploring different worlds. Okay, so let's listen to journalism.
Introduction to Journalism. This is a writing course. You may be taking this course to learn how to be a better writer, but you may also be taking it to learn more about the various careers one can have as a writer. Perhaps you are entertaining the idea of becoming a journalist, reviewer, technical writer, a children's author, or something else. There are many choices out there if you want to have a career as a writer. Throughout this course, you will read interviews and conversations with professional writers. These are intended to shed light on writing careers and give you some insights that you may not have known. You'll also be required to engage in a discussion after you read these author interviews. This section is dedicated to exploring the world of journalism. Types of journalism. There are many different types of journalists, just like there are many different types of journalism. Some people report on current events, others write about sports, entertainment, politics, medicine, science, technology, etc. The following are 2 interviews with 2 different journalists. Gregory Bonnell works for the Canadian Press in Toronto. His news articles are syndicated in newspapers all over the country. Opening parentheses, if you ever see CP written beside an author's name or written as the author, someone who works for the Canadian Press wrote it, closing parentheses. Andrew Wagstaff is the editor of The Citizen, a weekly newspaper based in the small town of Parsboro, Nova Scotia. Interview with Gregory Bonnell. Interview with Andrew Wagstaff. Make image full screen.
All right. This is the interview. Okay.
Mhm.
Me, you're going to ask the question and Wiz is going to answer. All right. Interview with Gregory Bonnell. Okay. I want you to read it.
Okay.
Me, read it. You are the question interviewer.
Okay.
This is the interviewee. Okay.
What is the official job title? Please describe yourself.
Wiz,
Senior on Oriental correspondent, which means when big news breaks in the province of
Ontario.
Ontario, I am the first called to rush to the scenes that puts my byline on top stories in regions, but also it's mean calls at all hours and spending days away from home.
Me.
What did you do? Become a journalist. Education, work experience.
Wiz,
Very little actually until my mid 20s after graduating universities in 1995 with honors BA Bachelor in Laws and Political Science. My summer construction job became my full-time job for the next 2 years. It took 6 months. It took 6 months radio broadcasting course in community college in 97, which I got my foot in the door at the Canadian Press broadcast news.
okay.
Did you know in high school that this what you wanted to do?
To do.
In my senior year of high school, I look a watercraft course, probably very similar to this one, and contribute some humor piece into the school newspaper. While my watercraft teacher urged me to pursue journalism, I was more interested in fiction.
Many writers have to work. They are wide up or have endure a few years or more of struggle before they become successful or are satisfied with their counter position. Could you provide describe how you got to where you are now? School.
Okay.
To
Wiz,
get my foot in the door of Canadian Press, I started at the absolute bottom, cutting out audio clips for radio broadcast, evaluating that the Toronto Star is working in the radio room, listening to police scanner. Don't be ashamed at the bottom. If you way in, if you are talented, work hard and do a good job, your career will progress. I went from cutting audio into writing news headlines, considering proper news story into 7 lines. 7 lines story for TV to submitting full length story on music and travel to the art department and so on. I have covered Prime Minister Cherington, Martin Harper, but also fashion show, J-Lo, Harry Duff, Canadian Fashion Week. The bottom line is doing a crappy job in a crappy job doesn't get you anywhere. Try to know them every time, be prepared to throw.
Okay. Next one. What advice?
What advice would you give to a retail student who want to be a journalist?
Chris?
Get grounded in asking tough question and tough question. There's a saying in the journalism: once a friend get a dog, seek out a university or college that combine classroom study with a real world experience. Intern for free in a newsroom if you can afford to. Potential employers and want to see clicking up your polish work, be prepared to do.
To toil. Okay. Next one.
How would you
Differentiate.
differentiate writing compared to writing fiction or other form of writing?
Okay. Chris?
Journalism has to be fast, accurate, impartial. Journalists are denied the luxury of making things up. Jason Blair, formerly of the New York Times, and Stephen Glass, formerly of the News Republic, tried for a while but got named columnism. Can opine magazine writers have month-long deadlines? Fiction writer can create half of nothing. Journalism just report the news as accurately as they can with a daily deadline bearing down for them. That said, nothing like deadline and temporal editor to motivate the procrastination reading in almost every journalist, including me.
Okay. Number 7.
Any favorite writers, how do they write or influence your writing?
The Globe and the Globe and Mail Kurtz Markin stand out. His command and outworking of the justice system never fails to inspire. Malcolm Gladwell, a Canadian does fantastic job to the fantastic job
For the
for the New Yorker at my own comedy, James and McCarran, Bruce Cheetos, and Alexander Panena are the master of injecting wider flair into hard news. It is tougher than it sounds. If you are too cute for your report, like about to see it to read, no one will want to read it. They are mastered working that the line.
What is one of your favorite things you ever wrote? If you can choose one, why are you so proud of it? Can you describe the writing of it, how you came to write it, and do you have a link to it so others can read it?
No one story stand out. No one story stand out I'm always proud when I can nail a really complex political or court story that make it good written well. On the other hand, I was quite proud of my review last for Van Halen reunion show in Toronto. That's for not journalism, the diversity of your topic.
Finally, many are worried about the state of journalism. Oftentimes, one hears that when journalism, especially, is an erroneous
Injured
speech. Do
species.
you what?
Do you agree or
Do
disagree?
you agree or disagree? What medium do you work in? Mostly newspaper, internet. How do you see the future of journalism?
Well,
That's long. I think there's no question that the newspaper are endangered species, but too much stock has been put into blogging as a replacement for professional journalism. Uh,
as we
the, as a readership fully moved online, people are still going to choose Craft-Ms.Maria-Intro pieces on the justice system and over the unedited and perhaps unfound opinion of a blogger who has never set foot in a newsroom crossfire. The medium is really irrelevant to what we do. The Canadian press serves print and online clients, and the day may come when we have only online client. Regardless, the story will need to be written by professional journalism. The things that determine the whole enterprise is it is on the internet. It should be free way of thinking. That will change as well. People have to get paid. People have to eat. The business of the world can move online for free.
okay. My last question for both of you is that based on this interview, what do you intend or what are you inclined to work as a writer? What kind of writing would you like to do based on this interview with Gregory?
Not
I'll
the
start with you.
journalism.
Are you inclined to journalism?
No, no, no.
No. What do you want to write? If ever, if and when you become a writer, what do you want to write about?
Novels.
Novels. Oh. What about you, me? You,
Movie,
you want to write
newspaper.
newspaper? Do you want to become a journalist like Gregory?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. And if you become a journalist, what do you want to write about?
Uh, I like entertain.
Entertainment.
Yeah.
Okay. Wiz, what kind of novels do you want to write about?
Story. No, I mean
Action,
life story.
suspense, love stories,
No, life story
life
about
stories.
someone life maybe,
Ah,
or about
like
my
a
life.
biography. Yeah, like a biography of someone's lives. Oh, okay. So that's the end of our lesson. I'll see you again on Saturday, both of you.
Mhm.
Okay. And the deadline for the first writing would be on next Thursday. Is that clear?
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Bye. See you again.
See ya.